The universe always provides me with what I need. Four-wheel drive van siding. He's running Patagonia MTs. I'm running ATRs. But it looks like a Colorado camper van setup. And I've noticed has a rear sway bar. And that's the topic today.
There is documented proof that the 15-passenger van can be one of the most dangerous vehicles on the road today in terms of rollover.
How to create the perfect overland camper van build out. This is going to be a tribute to Engineering Explained. My van's a 1999 Ford Econoline E350 extended model. If you have the standard model, it looks like this. The extended model adds 18 inches like that, and they don't extend the wheelbase, so there's a big section sticking out. It's like tacked on. Dodge does exactly the same thing. GM, they actually extend the wheelbase so there's more stability. Let's talk about stability right now.
Just look at how the 15-passenger van compares to a regular van. On most models, the wheelbase is the same, but you can see on the Ford and Dodge 15-passenger vans, the back end has been extended. The GM van is a different design. The wheelbase is longer. Engineers say that lowers the chance that this van will skid sideways.
If you like Neo Geo, watch this video right here. My van's a former church van. It had 4 rows of seats. So one row all the way in the back. It sat 4 people, another row here, 3 people, and another row here, 3 people, and then 2 more people up front, 15 passengers. So here's the bad thing about 15-passenger vans. They are very unstable, and you need to keep up with your tire pressure. 60 front, 80 back if you're using it as a 15-passenger van, or you're putting 4,000 pounds in the van, the payload capacity. This is why these vans are very unstable. Here's the wheel well, right? So the axle is right here. So since Ford did not extend the wheelbase along with Dodge, think about it. The last row that holds 4 people is all the way in the back. So what's the average American weight? 200 pounds? 2, 4, 6, 8. So you have 800 pounds behind the rear axle. All that weight, it's like a pendulum if you try to make any sudden lane changes. So if you have 800 pounds of people here, the next row is in this area right above the axle. So 3 people, 2, 4, 6, 600 pounds. So 600 pounds plus 800, 8, 9, 10, 12, 1,400 pounds right on the axle and right behind it. That's why these things are very unstable when you have it full of passengers. Just the weight distribution's horrible. The gas tank is right here, 35 gallons. So 35 gallons, a full tank of gas, 400 pounds. So you have 400 pounds here, you have 800 pounds here, and you have another 600 pounds here. So you have all that weight on this one tire. So when these lose control, this tire right here tends to delaminate because it's underinflated. People are used to 35 psi of tire pressure. You need the 80 on the rear tires if you're carrying a lot of people. Now if you're carrying no weight, yeah, you could get away with 60, maybe even 50, but you try 50 or 60 in this back tire, it will overheat, delaminate, potentially blow out, van tips over. I'm a car enthusiast that happens to like vans, so I'm thinking like a car enthusiast. When I built out this van, when I put stuff in it. So what's the best handling cars? Mid-engine. Rear engine cars do not handle well. Look at the Corvair. You know, they're really sketchy. That's why mid-engine, better weight distribution. Mid-engine, you'll have the engine right above the axle. So if you're thinking about building out a van build, try to avoid putting all your weight behind the axle, because like I said, gas tank is right here. on these 40 Econolines, they're extended, so it's like a pendulum. So try to evenly distribute your weight. Try not to put everything on this side and all the way in the back. That's why I have my bed right here. I mean, I don't have much. There's nothing back there. You know, I'm thinking about doing a full float bed in the back, but that's not going to be crazy amounts of weight. That's why I wanted to do a really simple no build. So when I got this van weighed with all the seats, it was 6,500 pounds with a full tank of fuel. So I'm probably less weight than when it was stock because I took out all the seats. I probably gained a little weight back because I do have a lift kit and bigger tires, but I don't think this equates to 400 pounds. So I think I might be a little under what I was when this thing was stock with the 4 rows of seats. So yeah, that's something to think about if you're doing a van build. Try not to put a lot of weight behind the rear axle. And if you have a lot of weight in your van, you got to run the recommended tire pressure. Load range E, 80 psi back, 60 front. If you have a lightweight van build, like you don't have much going on the inside, then you could get away with 50 psi, 60 psi. But yeah, full weight, play it safe. You don't want your tires delaminating. Yeah, and like I said, you don't want a crazy amount of weight in the back because it is like a pendulum, man. All that really weird of Ford to make their van like this. I think it's ugly and cool. I think it's so ugly it kind of actually looks cool. But yeah, when you look at it, it's kind of bush league that they just tacked on. Let's tack on another 18 inches. But yeah, that's why the overhang on these extended vans are so ugly. But I wanted the extra space. Now, if you have a standard length van, then you don't have as much of a pendulum effect because you're not putting weight all the way in the back. So that's something to think about. That's my little tribute to Engineering Explained, Poor Man Edition. Engineering Explained, Make-A-Wish, Temu Edition. But yeah, that's my little tribute to the guy. I enjoy his channel. But yeah, that's why I try to keep my weight minimum. And then for every 1,000 pounds you add to your van, you're losing 1 mile per gallon. So think about that. I still could get 16 miles per gallon on this van because I kept the weight down. Sportsmobiles, they weigh upwards of 10,000 pounds. So a lot of people with Sportsmobile vans are reporting they're getting like 12 miles per gallon on a good day. All that weight, 3,000 extra pounds over stock, you're gonna lose 3 miles per gallon. 6560. I'm gonna take out 3 of these bench seats, 3 out of 4. I'm keeping the last set in, so I wanted to weigh my van just to see how much weight it loses when I take out 3 of those bench seats. This van is getting a high top roof in a couple of weeks, so I'm looking into more modifications for stability. I want to get a Hellwig rear sway bar. And then the style of lift that this van has, I'm not a fan of the sway bar being removed. And then the fact that it has bent I-beams, it sucks in the front track 1 inch. These are stock offset rims, and before they used to stick out. Now they're sucked in and they match up with the bumper. So I'm thinking about getting wheel spacers. Not anything crazy, maybe a 1 inch wheel spacer, just so I could get my width back and add to the stability, and maybe find a way to re-add the front sway bar. It's okay for the most part, but there have been times I really missed the sway bar, mainly on mountain passes. It was tough to keep this in the lane, so I know with a high top roof, it's going to be, you know, it's going to have more area for the wind to hit and make it stray from the lane. So looking into more stability mods. Unfortunately, these are prone to rollover, but I don't feel unsafe driving this thing. I just drive it with common sense. It's a big vehicle. It could carry a lot of weight. So I don't drive it like a sports car. I don't weave in and out of traffic going 80 miles per hour. I just use common sense. I enjoy this thing for what it is. It's a tall vehicle. I drive it slow so I could look out the window and just enjoy the view. I wanted to keep the weight under 7,000 pounds for fuel economy and acceleration. So for every 1,000 pounds you add to your vehicle, you're losing 1 second in your quarter mile time, your 0 to 60 time. Why is that important if you're not racing? Think about passing power. 1 second, that's equivalent to 10 cars. So you add 3,000 pounds, you're 30 cars slower than a stock vehicle. And then fuel economy, every 1,000 pounds you add, you're getting 1 mile per gallon less. This just doesn't have a lift kit. I also got it re-geared along with the bigger tires, so it's stock calibration on the transmission. Right now I'm getting the dreaded 10 miles per gallon. I've been doing a lot of errands today, a lot of stop and go traffic, so 10 miles per gallon is normal. These engines do not like stop and go traffic, but I look at it like this. So if I had sportsmobile weight on this van, I would weigh 3,000 pounds more. So instead of 10 miles per gallon, I would be getting 7 miles per gallon right now. My best fuel economy ever on a road trip, 19 miles per gallon, but that was a unicorn perfect run. But typically I get 14 to 16 miles per gallon. So if I was checking in at 9,500 pounds, 3,000 pounds more, instead of 14 miles per gallon, I would be getting 11. Instead of 16 miles per gallon, I would be getting 13. So my tops in the real world would be 13 miles per gallon, and my lows would be 7. So that's another reason I keep weight down. Fuel economy, handling, and acceleration. That 1,000 pounds is 1 mile per gallon and 1 second slower in your quarter mile. Right now I'm checking in at 0 to 60 in about 9 seconds flat. So if I weighed 3,000 pounds more, that would be 12 seconds. So I would be 30 cars slower merging onto the freeway. That's a lot of car lengths right there. Toyota 4Runner, pretty big vehicle, but I'm sitting in the nosebleed section having a lifted van, so I'm looking right over this thing. So I have no desire to drive this thing like a Miata, like a Corvette, like a sports car. I drive it like it's a big vehicle. Just enjoy the view, enjoy the panoramic windshield. Just enjoy driving this thing slow. If I drove this thing like a muscle car and floored it at every light, floored it on every on-ramp, I'd be getting 10 miles per gallon even on road trips, and I would be getting 6 miles per gallon in stop and go traffic. But when I drive this thing easy, I get 14 to 16 miles per gallon. My last road trip, I almost got 16 miles per gallon. So I did a little math. I did the difference between 16 miles per gallon and getting 10 miles per gallon. And you could save a lot of money. And when you save money at the pump, what does that mean? You could go on further road trips or go on more road trips. So that's why I really wanted to build out a balanced van that was decent off-road, comfortable on the highway, and got pretty good fuel economy for what it is. I know it's not going to get 30 miles per gallon being a V10. 5.4, 6.8 V10, V8, ready? 1, 2, 3. $203.1 miles traveled, about an hour of traffic, average 65 miles per hour. According to the Ultra Gauge, 15.2 miles per gallon. But as always, I'll get the actual fuel economy. Miles traveled divided by gallons added. 12.648 gallons added. 203.1 miles traveled divided by 12.648 gallons added. Actual fuel economy 16.05. According to the Ultra Gauge, 15.2, so better than the Ultra Gauge. And according to the Ultra Gauge, I could have traveled 330 more miles. I could have went a little further than that. So easy 500-mile range. Let's do some math. I'm Asian, so I like math. Let's say I got the dreaded 10 miles per gallon, so I would have had to add 20 gallons instead. There it is right there. If I had put in 20 gallons, 10.1 miles per gallon. $74.61 for putting in 12.648 gallons $5.89 a gallon. Now let's times $5.89 per gallon times 20. Okay, so if I got 10 miles per gallon instead of 16, I would have spent $117 instead of $74. So minus $74. I saved $43.80. Now ask yourself that question. Is it worth slowing down to save $43.80? The bigger the vehicle you drive, the more money you're going to save.